What's up, everybody? Mike here with Trail 7. We're so excited today to bring a very special guest. We have Chris McNulty with Hertz Audison, and we're going to talk about a new launch that we've just put together with Trail 7 with Hertz and Audison, and I will hand it over to Chris to talk a little bit about who they are and what they do and what they're about. So,
I'm
Chris?
excited to be here. So my name's Chris McNulty. I'm the Director of Technical Support and Training for Elettormedia USA. That encompasses both the Hertz and Audison product line. We're really excited to start expanding what Trail 7 has to offer in their different offerings with our Hertz line, which was the first thing that we brought in, now our Audison SR and our Audison Forza amplifier. To give you a quick background as to who we are, we're an Italian audio company that's been in business for over 45 years. 45 years ago, we were started by 4 individuals, and through COVID, those same 4 individuals ran the company. So we're one of the last sort of family-owned, sort of brick and mortar, having values that serve our customers left in the industry right now. Unfortunately, the grandfather of Audison, Mr. Vagnoni, did pass away during COVID. But again, we still have the same focus, same 3 people at the top that we had for 45 years. I look at us as the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, the Paganis, the Ducatis, the high-end sort of refined Italian brand. That's what Audison is about. We're looking to explore newer ways to do things, better ways to do things, how to get more performance with different concepts. And we've integrated a lot of interesting features, tuning features into the DSP, microphones that plug into the computer that plug directly into the DSP, additional channels, additional crossovers in our sort of lesser end products. We also have the Hertz brand, and the Hertz brand has been super successful. Hertz is a little bit different. Hertz sort of attacks what the industry is asking for. The industry wanted a 1,000-watt 5-channel amplifier that fit in your back pocket, and we came out with the CP5.1K. We can do what the industry is looking for in Hertz, and in Audison, we sort of do what we see the industry is missing, and we're the innovators as far as that's concerned, especially in DSP and integration DSP.
That's awesome. So to touch on a couple of things that you said there is that what Audison is doing is allowing us to do some things, and we'll get into what those things are, that we can't or haven't been doing with some of our other systems, right? So particularly what we came out with first was this Audison SR amplifier, which is a 6-channel amplifier on the front side and a mono amplifier in the back. First of all of our bundles that we're putting together are plug and play. Everything comes to you as you would see an example here with the amp and connections, with our systems ready to install into your vehicle, with our installation videos to help you along the way. Now, using something like this here, we came out with this because this is a setup that allows you some more adjustability that you can't do with the regular amplifier that we're using in our other applications, say a 5-channel amplifier. But I'll let Chris go into some details as to what this specifically does using a 6-channel amplifier and a mono amplifier. And specifically when we launched this product, this was for the Bronco. So what does this do that one of our other brand packages doesn't do?
Yeah, absolutely. We have the 5.1K in the Cento series, which is a traditional 5-channel, which can run front speakers, rear speakers, subwoofer. And that's great. The interesting thing about the Bronco is there is a 6.5-inch mid-bass driver mounted by your feet. So that's there for sort of impact, low frequency, kind of the kick drum in your face. There's a full 4-inch speaker, this guy right here, in the top of the dash. That 4-inch speaker is going to give you more of your vocals and your instrumentation at the top. The issue that you have if you only have a left and a right channel to amplify them is they get muddied up. They don't have the impact, they don't have the control. In racing, they say power is nothing without control. If you can't control what you have, it doesn't matter how many horsepower you have. If you don't have the tires to hook up, you're not going anywhere with all that horsepower. What we have, and you can see on the controls at the top of this 6.600, we have the ability to do what's called a bandpass crossover. The 6.5-inch speaker in the kick panel can't play low bass, that's why we have subs, but it also doesn't need to play the mid-range and high frequencies that we have the 4-inch speaker at the top of the dash doing. So within the controls on the amplifier, we have the ability to limit what that 6.5 does and optimize its performance there. And then also do the same thing with the 4-inch speaker at the top of the dash, eliminating the low frequencies that it doesn't want to play. And we can dial that in. And again, this is the control that gives us that reality, that realism in the musical reproduction.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So we put together a plug-and-play system that gives you full adjustability and functionality of all the speakers into specifically this one here for the Bronco. So that's why we came out with this. We want to do something different that our other systems weren't offering to really maximize and get the full potential out of your system. And with the ease of our plug-and-play bundle, we came out with the Audison 6.1, or I'm sorry, the 6.6,
Yep.
and the mono amplifier on the back of that to control your mono double subwoofer. So once we came out with this, we realized there's so many more options that we can bring to the table with Hertz Audison. So then we started getting into a typical 5-channel amplifier setup, and then we touched on a little bit more of adding a DSP module to this setup here, and I'll let Chris talk about what we did there and what that option brings to the table as well.
So the DSP setup is very similar. We went from a 6-channel amplifier to an 8-channel amplifier, giving us a little bit more control, giving us the ability to run 2 channels to a set of tweeters, so independently powering and tuning the high frequency driver. We've also added a 3-inch mid-range in this configuration. So that's channels 1 and 2. Mid-range becomes 3 and 4. The speakers at the bottom become 5 and 6, and the rears are 7 and 8. So each individual speaker, we have the ability to control volume, tuning frequencies with an equalizer. We have the ability to deal with time delay because the speakers are in different locations and they hit you at a different time. We have the ability to set up the crossovers to optimize their performance and get them to work together. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and it's easy to make noise in a car with amplifiers and speakers. It's very difficult to make music, and that's what having that tunability, having the ability to throw a microphone in there and actually measure the environment in the real world and set all of these parameters up electronically to optimize the performance. And that's what the DSP does. But it takes what was a 6-channel, makes it an 8-channel. We still have a mono amplifier on the back. We can do the single 12. We can do the dual 10s. And the other cool thing, when we go with SR, we set the amplifiers up, set it and forget it. It's done. You've got volume, turn it up, turn it down. Well, if you take the top off this Bronco, you're in a totally different vehicle. So as you're driving down the road doing 90 on the highway with the top down, we have the ability with the DSP amplifiers in Forza to have a secondary tune that will optimize the performance in the more noisy environment. So, or if you've got a passenger with you and you want them to have, a better time listening and you're not the sole focus at that point, we can spread that soundstage out and give it a much larger sort of environment. It's an endless amount of tuning that we can do within the DSP.
So it's great. So that's a lot of technical information there, and that's a lot of information as to the functions and the high-level adjustability that these amplifiers can add. It sounds complicated. However, what we do at Trail 7 is we put together the tunes for you. So when you receive the amplifier and the DSP that are already tuned for 2 different or 3 different applications, you will receive the DSP with a tune set for, say, a top-off loud type of system or a top-on a refined type of system, right?
More intimate, more accurate, more realistic.
Yeah.
For sure.
You said it great earlier. We were talking about different levels of tune, and you talked about being in an orchestra, right? Where you're sitting in a theater and you're hearing every single violin and every single string, etc. That's your top-on tune versus
going to a rave.
Going to a rave, and you're in a loud outdoor amphitheater concert, right? That's the vehicle that we're in. We have 2 different platforms, and the adjustability and options of having a very complex system delivered to you in a very simple plug-and-play way, and then having the option of just clicking a couple of buttons and switching from really one vehicle to the next inside the same platform.
Absolutely. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's what we've come out with already. We've launched the SR series. We've launched the 5-channel amplifiers. We are getting now into launching the Forza amplifiers, which is another level of Audison. More adjustability, more features, more refinement.
Right.
And then also what comes with the Forza amplifier and DSP packages is getting into a different speaker option, right? So we talked about the amplifiers. Now let's talk about pairing the amplifiers up with a different speaker.
Traditionally, you've been using the Prima speakers
Yep.
with the SR amplifiers.
Yep.
And Prima is our OEM integration speaker. It's a phenomenal speaker, super efficient, plays well with radio power or amplifier power, but it doesn't need all the power in the world. It's a very durable sort of, it does everything. It's our workhorse in our lineup. That being said, your workhorse is not always your best performer. It's not always the best at a particular job. We've just released a brand new line of speakers, and I'm wearing the t-shirt today, actually, which is Voce II. Voce in Italian means the voice. Our speaker manufacturing facility is called La Voce, the voice. And it means a lot to us. You know, we put a lot in that, and we've had a line of speakers for well over a decade called Voce, and they performed phenomenally. When we hit the drawing board and we decided to redo them, we didn't want to just revamp what we had. We wanted to start brand new. So instead of upgrading the Voce speakers that we've had for over a decade, we looked at our top-of-the-line flagship speaker, which is Thesis. And our Thesis speakers, our tagline with those speakers is beyond the absolute. So if this is the absolute, we just went one step beyond it. When those were developed, they were developed no holds barred. It doesn't matter what they cost. It doesn't matter how big they are, how hard they are to install. And we made, $6,000, $7,000 speakers, which I'd love to have them in the Bronco, but it doesn't always work. We took that technology and we made it easy to install. So instead of a tweeter that's about this big, we have a tweeter that's traditional 28 millimeter that matches pretty much everything, fits in the vehicle. We came up with a traditional 3-inch speaker, a traditional 6.5. But these are speakers that are far more detailed. So again, this is the intimate setting. This is sitting in a jazz club. This is listening to an orchestra. It's not being at a rock concert. It's not going to a rave. This is the detail that you can't get from sort of a traditional speaker. This is that step beyond. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about it, though, is it can also do what those other speakers can do. It can give you that energy. It can give you that focus. It can give you that excitement. But it also starts with a much more realistic musical representation.
That's great. So really, you have two different platforms. You have your Primo, which is more all-inclusive, throw everything at it. You're going to get a great sound. You're going to get great performance.
For sure.
More probably of an enthusiastic type of sound to it, right? And then you're going to have your Voce line, which is very refined, very dialed in, very precise, right?
Correct.
Which then brings the option of adding a 3-way system into the vehicle, which we've done here on our Bronco, paired up with the Forza amplifier. What does a 3-way bring to it? And what is a 3-way system?
So again, in any task that you're trying to perform, we can break it down. Mike's good at a lot of things, but he's not good at everything, and he's not good at everything all the time. So if we can take Mike's skill set and break it down to what he's the best at and have him just do that and not work on the stuff that he has to struggle with, he's going to do those things better. So what we do is we'll take the tweeter. The tweeter will play from 5,000 hertz on and up without a problem. This tweeter actually plays all the way down to 2,000 hertz when we ask it to. So it'll do a lot of work in the mid-range in a system. But if it doesn't have to work that hard at the bottom end where it's more difficult, it's going to do an even better job in the upper end. So we pair that with a 3-inch speaker that can play well into where the tweeter plays, but we won't ask it to do all that extra work. We're going to allow it to shine where it plays the best between, say, 500 and 5,000 hertz. And then the woofer down in the kick panel, we don't need it to play the mid-range because we've got 2 speakers up top that are doing that. So we allow each speaker to do what it does better and not have to overlap and try to stretch. So you get better performance, more linearity, more clarity, more definition, with less risk of damage because we're not trying to do more with the speaker than we would previously. So again, it gives you that control that you wouldn't have otherwise.
That's great. So we just heard there is a lot of adjustability with the three-way system, giving tons of potential for sound, quality, etc., being able to really tap into a whole different level of music enthusiasm while you're driving down the road, right?
For sure.
Very complex. However, you're not alone. You're not doing it on your own. We are putting together the system for you in a plug-and-play manner to where all the connections are ready to go for you. Our installation videos are going to walk you through that, and the adjustability of the amplifier and the DSP is going to be done prior to receiving it. So when you'll receive it, it'll be ready to dial in or it'll be ready to listen to. All you'll have to do is set your preset tunes to whichever type of style you want to listen to. By all means, you can dial in there or you can hop in there and you can adjust your own DSP and you can set it to how you want to. You can add some more flavor to it if you like to, but just know that you have the option of it coming to you delivered, already ready to go, all of this complexity, so you don't have to try to figure out exactly what's going on here, right?
Right. Well, that's what we're going to do.
That's what we're going to do.
We're going to get in here and measure this beast.
Yeah.
So.
And we're going to do that now, actually. So right now we have what's set up in here is the Forza 8.14 amplifier, DSP amplifier with the Voce II three-way system. So I'm excited. It's a little bit set up, but we're going to dive in there more. We're going to fine-tune this thing so you'll be able to see how easy this is to fine-tune it if you wanted to more on your side, and also to use the control module, which is this guy here.
The DRC, yep.
Yep, the DRC.
Digital remote control.
So this is a control module that has a little digital screen on there that you can toggle between the preset tunes.
Oh, it's already in the truck.
It's already in the truck, yeah.
Absolutely. That's why we have an empty box.
Yep,
Makes
yep.
perfect sense.
Yeah. Chris is going to walk us through a little bit of how to set that up and what it does from there.
Cool. Right. Just need to grab a mic and we're good.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot. Yep. We'll hop in the vehicle. We'll see you there in a minute. All right, obviously we're plugged into the Bronco now specifically, and something I want to point out is that the Bronco accessory is not on, because
Correct.
Something that you just mentioned is that as long as the accessories are on when we connect it, we can then turn the accessories off as long as this is connected into the DSP prior to it turning off.
Absolutely. It's a feature that we call PC Power On. It gives us the capability with a lot of these push-to-start vehicles that turn on and turn off, time and time again. Right now, the measurement we're doing is being created from the amplifier. It's not being created by the radio, so there's no need for the factory radio to be turned on. The other neat thing is we do have, it's hard to see, but we do have a voltmeter down here in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, which indicates that we still have good voltage at the vehicle, whether we need to put it on a charger or whatever. So yeah, at this point, we're ready to rock and roll. We've got the microphone mounted at the headrest, which is the listening area for the driver, and we're going to run it through the Accordo process. Cool. So it's a pretty simple setup. So we'll go in here. It's what we call a wizard, because it happens magically. Mm-hmm. I'm going to finalize, so I want to make sure that we don't lose any of these settings. I'm also going to save. So finalize saves the settings to the DSP itself. Save saves a copy of the settings to the computer. So here at the shop, you guys will have the save file just loaded up to the next DSP that goes out the door and ready to rock and roll. But if you're doing it at home, having a saved copy gives you the ability to get back if something catastrophic happens, and you need to do that. We had a client a couple months ago that got rear-ended. The amplifier was destroyed in the accident, but we had the saved copy of the file. Got him a new amplifier, put it in, wired it up, and just flashed it, and it was done. Sounded just as good as the one before. So.
That's great. Also to note, right, so if we send it out pre-tuned and we send the customer a copy of the save file, they can save the file on their computer.
Yep.
And if they decide to get into the tune to make their own adjustments, say they get a little over their head and need to revert back to how it was when we sent it to them, easy to go back to the save file.
No issue at all.
Great.
You have your life preserver for sure.
Great.
All right. So we've got a saved copy. This is the Accordo Wizard. We're going to go and start. I believe these have information that's important. I've never read them. I just keep on going. It's the tech guy for you, right?
It's the instructions, right? No need else.
Exactly. throw them away, burn them. This is verifying that all the speakers are turned on, so we're in good shape there. This is where we decide what we want it to sound like. We've got a number of different preset curves, and we're still working on others. This is probably the most dynamic curve, the most energetic. This is the fun and happening 90 on the highway. Like that's kind of where we're at. So we always start with this as our base. The interesting thing when we go through the different curves, They are so similar, if you lay them on top of each other, it just becomes a thicker line almost. So they're not fundamentally different. There's just, little bits, a little bit of extra salt, a little bit of extra pepper, some paprika, whatever it may be, but it's still the same recipe. So we'll roll through that. And now what it's going to do, it's going to give me 5 seconds, and it's going to start running the test tone in there, and we're going to make sure that the microphone is set so it can hear it. There we go. We got our green light. We'll go through. It's going to give me another 5 seconds. And the 5 seconds is if we had a short cable and we were in the vehicle, it would give us the time to get out.
Okay.
So I'll try to keep it quiet. It's looking at the background noise.
Okay.
And it wants a 20 dB difference between the sound of the speakers and the background noise. So it's going to measure each speaker independently. So it's playing the left dash right now.
Okay.
And we'll see how far it gets. There we go. Speaker 4, 5. There we go. All the speakers are heard.
So this doesn't need to be, we've had some other systems where we've tuned the DSP with an AI type of mechanism, and it was very sensitive to where the vehicle needed to be inside a garage with the doors closed, completely silent, and we noticed that the vehicles with soft tops tend to create issues with that. We have to lay a thin fabric over the microphone. Do we have any issues or any obstacles
again,
with
we've
that?
got the AC going in here. We've got some noises going around. We were talking, so it's in pretty good shape. But we do want it to be quiet. So this was the preliminary. So those little chirps that it was verified that all the speakers are playing and they're playing loud enough. We're now going to go into the actual tuning process, and it'll play another set of tones. It will take this is a 9-channel system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 channels. It'll take I'm doing math wrong. It'll do 18 seconds of tuning. We need 18 seconds of silence, and then we can have a party. It's all good.
Okay.
So it does have to be pretty quiet, and definitely soft tops are going to make a difference because there's less going on. But again, in this environment, shouldn't be an issue at all.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and hit go. And the 5-second wait is almost as long as the tuning process itself. And there we go. Measurement process, 18 seconds long. Processing will take another 12. So legitimately, the tuning process is about 30 seconds.
Wow, great.
It's that simple. The setup and all of that has to come before it. But the tuning process is about 30 seconds, and it'll take about 10 seconds to write it to the DSP. We'll see if we have any changes in what it measured as we've changed the settings on the amplifier.
So this will be tuned to that baseline, and then if we wanted to, hop in and add a little bit of salt and pepper, a little flavor here and there, then we can adjust based on our listening if we wanted to.
Absolutely, and what we can do after that, and what's going to make the most sense, is we're going to figure out what those differentials are, and that'll tell us what the Trail 7 flavor is, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll create a specific curve that's contoured specifically to the Trail 7 flavor, so it can go through one time and you don't have to add it on the back end.
Great.
So we can keep it consistent, whether it be a Jeep or whether it be a Bronco or whatever the next vehicles are, they're all going to have that same flavor across the board. You can stay consistent. Works out really well. So I'm just going to take a look at each of the speakers and make sure that there's no real chaos going on. So those are the 2 tweeters. We can look on the top right hand side. That's the equalization done there. These are the 3-inch speakers. The kick panels. Being under the dash, you get a little bit of a hump in the frequency response from that reflection. So this is taming that hump on the left hand side. And the hump is slightly different on the right hand side. The rear speakers should be a much more linear setup, and then the subwoofer. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and finalize the system. So what this does is this is going to save our tune to the DSP. At this point, we can unplug, walk away, turn the car on and off. Everything's going to be there, but we want to be safe, and we want to save as well. So this is just going to save. It's It's going to save the file to the computer so that the next Bronco that rolls in tomorrow, we put the same system in, we just plug it in, hit load, finalize, go.
Great. Okay. And of course, now we'll set these up to where we'll refine it a little bit more, so we have the full, true top-on type of tune,
Sure.
and then top-off type of tunes. That way, the customers get to toggle between both worlds.
Absolutely.
And that the DSP or the DRC module holds what, up to 3 tunes?
It will actually hold up to 6.
Okay. Great.
But if we only have 3, it'll only offer 3. If we only have 2, it'll only offer 2. So again, the flexibility in the system is phenomenal. We can turn things on and off and make it perfect for every listener.
So what we'll probably do is send something out that's a top-on tune, top-off tune, and then something that's a little bit in the middle, a little enthusiastic top-on type of tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll have the ability to toggle through all 3 of them and just enjoy listening to music.
Cool. Okay. All right, so we're fully tuned. Thank you so much for showing us how to do that. Just so you know, and remember that when you receive the system from Trail 7, it's a complete plug-and-play system into your vehicle. The DSP is going to be set up with some preset tunes, so you can toggle between, top-on type of environment, top-off type of environment, and a couple of others that we'll give in there just so you can toggle in between to have some different choices. And if you wanted to mess with the DSP on your own, Chris showed you how easy that is to tune it on your own and make some salt, pepper adjustments, etc. Right? So, man, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely, man.
Really enjoyed you coming in and talking to us about Audison, what they bring to the table, and I'm really excited to bring to you guys what more we can bring to you with the Hertz Audison line. So if you'd like to pick up your Hertz Audison bundle for your vehicle, plug-and-play bundle for your vehicle, please visit us today at www.trail7.com. Until next time, we'll see you out there.